Good evening, Coin Community, and welcome back to yet another Coins.ph live AMA for our Coin Community Thursday. I hope everyone is having a good evening this Thursday evening. Happy late Chinese New Year and Valentine's also to everyone in the Coin Community. Drop a GM in our comment section, like to say, and give shout outs to all of our Coin Community viewers for tonight if you're tuning in wherever you are. So drop a hello, GM sa Twitter, sa Facebook namin. For tonight's discussion, we have Paulo from the Kaia team, and we'll be discussing, how coins powers the Kaia ecosystem in the Philippines, and we'll also talk about some of the initiatives the Kaia team is doing. But then rin, a discussion on stable coins since that's generating all the buzz and how we're pushing forward use cases for stable coins using coins no for our Filipinos, our OFWs, mga kababayan natin in and out of the country. So I guess without further ado, before we kick off our AMA and discussion, I'd like to bring up Paulo, Head of Partnerships at Kaia. Paulo, good evening. How are you doing?
GM. So, GM. It's good. The week has been last week I came from Hong Kong for consensus, and then this week here in Singapore we've been celebrating the Lunar New Year's, the year of the fire horse. So, medyo I'm quite full from all the festivities, and I'm suffering a bit from the blobs, but
Oh
I'll
no.
recover. And I'm so happy to be here with the Coins community. So thanks for having me, JC, and the Coins team.
Thank you, Paulo. Maybe real quick, Paulo. Two things. So maybe one. So maybe how was consensus? Maybe what's one thing that you observed since a lot of our Filipino crypto community, they want to go to these events. Maybe they're not
Oh,
as blessed to go. So maybe how was consensus for you?
um, well, the PR answer is it's very institutional, so it's very it's a different event compared to others. But the fun answer would be because it's more institutional, there are less uh, clowny things. So as to say, very more people are in jackets, But I'm still wearing the Kaya shirts, of
Mhm.
course. But it was fun, but it was a really good indication that financial institutions are coming to the space, right? So you see booths from banks and payment services, very different from usually what you see from other usual crypto conferences where it's just booths and merch, and that's about it. Here is actual businesses, not just looking for quick follows on X, but actually looking for business opportunities. So that was very interesting.
Yes. All right. Yeah, I mean, the space is maturing, and as you mentioned, institutions are coming in, and I think it's really exciting to also
Yeah.
talk more about the topic that we have for tonight. And maybe to segue to that, Paul, I'd like you to introduce yourself on the show and maybe just give a quick rundown of what it is you do exactly as the head of partnerships at Kaya.
I sit all day and watch. No, just kidding. So yeah. So I lead partnerships with Kaya. I've been with Kaya, or it was called Clayton back then. Now for this will be my third year. So in crypto, that's essentially dozens of years, right? So like multiple sub cycles of sorts. Yeah. Within, what do I do? So I'm the one that talks to different companies like Coins, like to say we're layer one, right? So layer one is basically a network where people can use on build apps on or transact on. And so I speak to exchanges or applications, whether it's games or DeFi, and basically persuade them of the wonders of using of choosing us as one of the networks that they support, essentially. So it's fun. I get to meet like a very fun people, whether it's through formal dinners or presentations or casual, networking events like in Hong Kong. So that's really fun way. Is getting to know people and having fun and also doing business together. Mm.
Awesome. So I guess, we can kick off the AMA, Paolo, with the first
Mm.
question that I have in store for you, right? So I think, I'm not sure if maybe you've been on the show in the past, but I think it's the first time I'm hosting you. So maybe you can give
Yeah,
some look to our community and tell us about,
yeah.
how the relationship between Coins and Kaya start. What can you tell us about maybe the scope also before, and what's it like now for the existing partnership?
Yeah, for sure. No, actually, I've known the Coins guys for a long time, and I met Joe way actually last year, even during in Bali, of all
Yeah.
places, right during the during Coin Fest. It goes way back, I don't know, 2023, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, and then that's when we initially listed Clay, right? And Coins was one of the first to support the merge, the move when we changed the token, rebranded the whole token from Clayton to Kaia. And I was speaking to a bunch of other folks like Jen and Apollo and the whole gang, and we even had our first launch or merge launch party of Kaya itself was on your office in
Yes.
BGC. Yeah, yeah. So that was crazy. We were featured in ABS-CBN and a bunch of other media outlets. Thanks to our friends from yeah, with thanks to Jiro and his team. So that was really fun. So that's how it really started, and then Coins has been very supportive recently, right? Especially from last year when we had the new stable coins in Kaya, right? When it was live, and it was no longer just the Kaya, which is a very good token, but something that is actually pegged to real dollar value, which I think I realized, which we learned that a lot of Filipinos actually really like because they could use it on everyday things. So Coins has been through us since that launch party in 2024, 2024, yeah, and now it's been more than 2 years now for it. And now we recently launched a campaign. Remember with Valentine's Day,
Yes. Yes.
uh, kickstarted last week where we had a pool of 300K pesos
Yes.
for sending money to and fro to your loved ones. And I mean, I'm sure the community has supported it. So I hope it's something that we can do more of. Yeah. So that's just a start of even more maybe stable coin related initiatives and campaigns with coins.
Awesome. Thanks, Paulo, for that. And I hope the community, maybe some of our viewers were even at that, launch event, I think 2 years ago. So we
Yeah.
have a lot of people who were definitely probably there. So I guess maybe
Yeah.
moving on, so let's talk a bit more about maybe some of the things that you've seen, observed of the team. And I like this question. Maybe you can expound on this one too, right? So, what were the major positives or maybe results that you saw after tapping coins, as an institution to partner with? And maybe you can also talk a bit more about the different partnerships you've had in like maybe different countries as well.
What were the major positive and negative? I'm just kidding. What were the major positive results you saw after tapping into the Coins.ph as a beneficiary institution? I think the unique, what I really liked with Coins, right, was that with your history, you first started out as a company for with fiat for payments, right?
Yes.
So you were a Web 2 company first before being a Web 3 company. So it's very similar to us, right? Because we were started by this company called Kakao, and it's quite big in South Korea, like Kakao Talk and a bunch of other stuff. So we have very similar, I think, ways of doing business, and the ethos, the soul is essentially the same, of having that roots in Web 2 and having that reach in Web 2 and the necessary, distribution, and then using from that expertise, building on that with the crypto layer. And just so you guys have a lot of licenses, like the VASP, one of the few exchanges that have the license, because like even major exchanges are not even allowed, right? Like not even like Interactive Brokers and a bunch of others. So it's a very unique position to have that capability to do business in Web 2 in a licensed, regulated way, and doing Web 3 more leveraged way of more forward, more degen way of doing things in crypto. So that's a really nice balance that you have, and that's what I really like. And second is, I think you do have a quite a good, healthy trading community. Yeah, if I recall correctly. So the last time I was there, when even simple, I think you still host these events every week, maybe, or every month, in your office, where you invite the community over, and then it's just a very fun time, maybe with pizza, right?
Yeah.
And this is something that I'm not sure if I've seen much of, right? Even in the Philippines, to just have this free flow conversation and meeting builders and such, buy and exchange. So that's quite unique, and it's really a testament to how you guys value your community. Even hosting this on a regular basis and having you on board, JC, is a pretty good thing. So we resonate with that, and I think that's something that we do as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Hopefully we have more events, in the future for the community as well. So always fun. And we'd love to stay in touch with the community. I guess the next
Mm-mm-mm.
question I have, Paulo, maybe is this one, right? Um, so people, know about the history and that there was a merger.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have now, we're seeing a lot of mobile apps for crypto, and with this, it's also like having it embedded into like your daily chat app. So maybe like for
Mm,
Filipinos, use Line for work or for stickers and interacting with the different groups. I guess how does
mm.
this crypto into your daily chat apps, and what does it look like for like their use cases on a practical basis?
Yeah, for sure. Um, on a practical basis, you have to understand that for a normal person, change is very difficult for anyone, and friction will always make you lose. Convenience always wins, right? You if you whether if you introduce something foreign or something more expensive but more convenient, foreign but cheap, or convenient but expensive, or a little expensive, they would always choose convenience. This is just how people are, right? Essentially. So because we learned, we have that insight and experience, we wanted to find partners, or we wanted to introduce crypto to platforms that already have the users, number one, right? And number two, that they already use it on a daily basis, which is why it was very strategic for us to partner with, to merge with Line Messenger's blockchain, for example, right? Because it's there, right? On every people's, on every person in those specific countries, like Japan, Taiwan, and Thailand, for example. Everybody has it, from a toddler to a retiree. They use super apps every single day, more than they do other apps. Like whether when even when Telegram was new to the picture with crypto, a lot of these cultures are very uniquely risk averse, that they may even avoid it altogether. So having crypto, because in line, for example, anything that happens in crypto in that messenger runs on Kaia chain, for example. So for the normal Filipino, it's very advantageous for you, because with Kaia and through it, we can power a lot of experiences that you have, right? So I'm sure we can talk about it later as well. But we started last year, for example, with a bunch of games, and like for the Filipinos, well, we really love games, right? And hence the birth of Ronin and Axie, way back 2020. So that's something we introduced last year. That was very fun. We even have a lot of Filipinos join in as well. We had about cumulative about over 160 million users. That was very fun, and whether they came for the airdrop, or they came to just play, or they really just enjoyed these web-based applications, it was a good experiment. So yeah, I think we're ready for more things now that we validated that last year when we introduced web apps in Messenger. It's convenient. There's We've abstracted everything. It's very easy to make a wallet. You don't even feel it. We'll chat later as well. Like it doesn't even have gas, for example. Some of it can be absorbed. So we really put convenience at the core of our user experience. So I think that was a good turnout for us.
Okay, yeah. And maybe I think to follow up with that, so we often hear that Kaya wants to be like the everyday blockchain. So maybe do you have a story of how does a customer use Kaya differently, now in 2026 compared to back then in like 2024?
Ah, how do you use it differently? Well, well, to be fair, not much has changed from 2024 to 2026, except that there's more prevalence now of stables, for example.
Yeah,
So before the prominence of stablecoins, I mean, there was the bullish case of coins going up, right? Sorry,
yeah,
of tokens itself going up, and having the benefit of the gains from that, the capital gains from the price differentiation, price appreciation. But unfortunately, it also introduces. Um, uh, sorry, I'm not sure if you could hear. Uh, So sorry, apologies.
It's
Because
fine. It's
my
fine. Don't worry
kids
about it.
cry.
We're human. We're human.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So now we have stables. So you have some upside, right, with tokens. But there's a downside of it's very difficult to use. Not many people want to adopt it. Businesses won't want to put their faith on transacting with tokens. But now they have stable coins. It's a lot easier, So for the everyday person, like if it's a Pinoy overseas Filipino worker, OFW, they can send their loved ones stables, and it'll be off ramped in Coins.ph and sent to their e-wallets or bank accounts very easily. That's something that you guys have really done successfully on. And with Kaya, it's even cheaper, and because it's against Polygon, for example, we're 15 times from 1.5 cheaper than Polygon. That makes us about, I don't know, 200 or more times cheaper compared to Tron, for example. So you have the convenience of apps, and it's you can have the abstraction of gas and all the other difficult processes, and it's cheap as well. So I think that's a very good mix for mass adoption and utility. Mm.
All right. So I think we're really on that topic of having the blockchain will be like, I guess, the highway and where everyone transacts and uses it. So I think another topic that people probably heard about is, their
Yep.
adjacent ecosystem is Project Unify. So how will a
Oh.
super app change the way a family in the Philippines, for example, receives money from a relative working in Japan or Korea overseas?
Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, so this goes back to our thesis, right? Of convenience always wins. In Japan, everyone uses Line, and people, and to be fair, there's also a lot of barriers to anything crypto, right? Exchanges are sometimes difficult, especially in those other countries, right? So for a normal Filipino in maybe in Thailand or Japan or Taiwan, because we enable this ease of accessing your wallet inside the messenger itself, down the line, hopefully this year, we can actually enable these activities of maybe P2P, or maybe actually right now you can already do primary buying and selling of NFTs inside the app itself. It's very fun for us, and very you can access all the different kinds of web apps, not just games. You can access e-commerce. I don't know. I think we have some prediction markets coming soon as well to the messenger, if I'm not wrong. And of course, the neobank experience. I think this is what you were saying. And sorry, so Project Unify is basically a super app within the messenger itself. It's a web app, and we call it Unify because it unites different kinds of applications. So we will have a yield option, or a yield aggregator inside, and you just, as long as you leave it in your wallet as an idle balance for your stables, that balance will work for you, right? So we unite the yield components, we unite content. So this is where the games and DeFi and e-commerce comes into play. And then soon enough we'll also have a swap component. So it's like an exchange in itself as well. And then down the line in the future, it will also we aim to enable sending to and fro to different wallets within the messenger itself. So it's a very contained experience,
Yeah.
which is very consistent, right, with how people interact with their everyday apps like this. In China, they spend like about 4 or 5 hours each day on WeChat alone, and the same goes for us in the Philippines. Even in Southeast Asia, we have Grab as a super app, right? It can book your taxis, you can get food delivery, pharmacies, and now you can even get loans. I think inside the app as well. So it's a super apps are very common in Asia, and that's something we want to ride on the strength that we have. For that.
Yeah, having like a whole suite, I guess, of tools right
Feels-
within one app. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I think the next question that we wanted to touch on is this one, right? So talking about upgrades, and the Osaka upgrade introduced blobs to the Kaya network, right? I think what's
Blob.
important here for the end users is like, in layman's terms, how does a technical upgrade like this, make sending USDT cheaper?
Um, hmm. Well, I guess this really goes back to crypto almost functioning like an alternative world to finance. Actually, be under the hood in Web 2 finance world, there are a lot of ways of moving money. In crypto, this is the same. So blobs essentially think of it like a different bucket or a different lane, right? So whenever we process transactions, everything comes in a particular road or lane. In blobs, think of it like a large, maybe like a cargo truck, right, with temporary depots at the edge of the city. So now you can have these bulk shipments, or in crypto we call them roll-ups, let's say if it's a really big USDT payment, you can put all inside this single batch, right? And then they go on the single lane, and then ultimately saving money, right? Because all of that will have their own rates for gas and stuff, which also frees up the network for other kinds of transactions. So I know that's a bit technical, yeah, but what it actually means at the very least is that we as an industry are very competitive with the Web 2 industry. In fact, it's even more preferable, right? So I'm
Yeah.
sure you've all heard the evangelists before. They say no, the crypto makes it quicker and more secure and yada yada. So you can have all that and have things move efficiently at the same time, not just clogged. So that's what the blobs do. They don't clog your transactions, they batch it, they roll it up, and then you can have a single way of paying for them, or cheaper ways of paying for them, rather. Mm,
Thanks for
yeah.
that. I think the analogy is really good, especially because people probably hear blobs, around the space, but how does it, like, I guess, translate into the
Yeah.
end effect? Making
Yeah.
these things cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess maybe another, slightly technical question we wanted to touch on was gas abstraction, right? So with gas abstraction, so does that mean users can pay their fees using the same USDT that they're already sending?
Oh no, it means they don't have to pay gas at all. Yeah. So say if I send money to you, or you send money to me, please send me money. You don't have to, usually you have to pay for gas,
Yeah.
right? So what that means is a very inconvenient experience. No? So example, I want to send USDT Kaia to you, my friend, for example, or to my family and whatnot. But what if I don't have Kaia to pay for the transaction? Then it becomes then it means I need it's a very inverse process. Then I have to go to whatever on and off ramp. It could be I could go to Coins just for it to connect to my wallet, whatever wallet that is, so I can send to my loved ones. So it's a very backward way of doing it. But with gas abstraction feature, we, for example, or the application itself can absorb the gas for the user. Or it could be through an allowance, or it could be through a different wallet to pay on behalf of the user. But essentially, what that means, it goes back to the principle that we really want, which is improving the customer experience, or the user experience, the UX. Essentially, once we solve the UX, it becomes usable. If people at the very beginning they have a poor user experience, this is not something they would use again. So I'm sure you go through all these builders in the chat, right? And you will hear them often say they want to they're gonna get the next billion users. But for everybody that says that, if nobody pays attention to execution and catering to the user experience, this just becomes an empty, a promise of sorts. But with features like this that we have in Kaya, this actually makes it usable and pleasant to work with today. Yeah, and not just in the future. Mm.
Awesome. So thanks for that, Paul. So I think another thing, maybe last about, blockchain performance would be this one. So you guys have like 1 second block, right? So why is speed so important when someone's trying to cash out stable coins to like a local bank?
Yeah, no. The beauty, for example, I'm not just stroking your or blowing your horn here, no. Pero the beauty with maybe like coins is that you have these links to banks and e-wallets, right? And then you have enough liquidity to essentially meet orders so people can withdraw money or withdraw their crypto. So combine that with Kaya's 1 second finality. What that means is within 1 second it's recorded on chain, right? So that means it's a real world use case. You know, when I send money to, example here in Singapore, if I send money to somebody, it has to, if it doesn't show up within 5 seconds, I'll get anxiety. And even back in 2020, 2021, when we were first having NFTs, right? Whenever you would mint something, it would be this really long loading screen, or you know that this emoji, and then you have serious anxiety whether or not your transaction went through. So yeah, this goes back to UX, right? That's very poor user experience. But with things like a 1 second block time, or things like maybe your exchange's ability to have this pool and send money across different banks and e-wallets almost instantly, I think that's just a game changer. Mm.
Awesome.
So could yeah.
Yeah, and I think that will only continue to get faster and cheaper as the industry matures. As businesses
Mm.
are very competitive in this space. And I guess
Yeah.
quick plug. So community, do drop your questions down below for Paulo, about Kaya. Maybe you want to pick his brain about certain things about the industry. It's great to have a speaker like him on board for tonight.
Mm.
Uh, but I guess the last set question I have here is this one. So from the team also they asked, so what's your outlook for stablecoins in 2026 and maybe in the next 3 years in terms of global adoptions and different institutions coming in, as you mentioned earlier at the start?
Outlook for stablecoins in 2026. From last year, we've already seen a bunch of banks coming into the place, you know, like JP Morgan, Standard Charter, different banks as well. Even, and for you guys, with the BSP allowing your PHPC, right, in the sandbox. Was it this year or from last
Okay.
year, exiting this year, correct? So that's just imagine that replicated from different countries. Like for example, we ourselves are vying for the Korean won stablecoin, for example, soon launching on Kaia, right? We've already have Indonesian rupiah. We've already had a few others as well. Hopefully, with Japan as well coming to. I think it's something we hinted on our socials as well. So not just USD stablecoins, but local stablecoins, right? And so right now, I think from early to mid last year, there was about stables make up about, I don't know, 30% of all on-chain transaction volume, right? And then more than 4 trillion, I think, in stablecoin volume over that particular period. So that's a lot, right? But it's only growing. Nothing's stopping. Last year was in the U.S. we passed the Genius Bill. Maybe soon the Clarity Act as well. So that sent a wave of signals in political signals all across the world, especially here in Asia. Like Philippines is having a lot more exchanges with licenses. The banks are cooperating. You have a custody with different banks for stables. I think you can even make payments with your QR code from your Coins.ph wallet as well, right? So that's adoption at its finest. So things like this will only grow. And for Kai, it's the same as well as we reach. I think we're fairly confident that we'll be dominating at least in Asia when it comes to consumer products, when it comes to DeFi products, when it comes to the suite of stablecoins, whether it's USD or local. I think we're there, and we're really ready to so-called conquer. Mm, yeah.
Awesome. I think, as you mentioned, 30% is big, and it continues. If even if the percentage stays the same, but the total volume of crypto gets larger,
Mm,
bigger number, and I think that's a net positive because you're seeing more
yeah.
activity and adoption.
Yeah.
Yes, so I think that's it for the set question. There's one, I guess, question from the community from here. So from Kenneth Alvin asks, so they asked, do you see Kaya going beyond the APAC region in the coming years?
Oh, we will. I mean, it's a general purpose chain, but what we want to do first is, to be very frankly, we can't conquer the world. The
Yeah.
pie is so big, right? I know for coins you're trying with different parts of Asia as well, but your base as well is in the Philippines, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's the same approach. We want to do well in a particular market first, validate how we do business together, and then slowly expand. Because if you spread yourself too thin, then your resources may not be enough, right? And in a way, the market is too big. There's more than enough. We can't fight for the same like small pool, small pond, and fish in the small pond. The ocean is big enough. So eventually, we do want to tackle outside Asia, right? For example, um, maybe US is too daunting, but other parts, so maybe the Middle East and whatnot, right? So Latin America, there's a lot of remittances that are happening in Filipinos there as well. So that's something that we want to do tackle, that we will eventually tackle. But we want to do well first and dominate in this market, which I think we can, and we're already in the leading position to do so. In doing so. Mm.
Awesome.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right. I think yeah. Not sure if there are other questions, but maybe Paulo, like to ask you maybe where can the coin community find you? Maybe on social if you're active there. You shared it with us. Maybe I can flash it on screen. But maybe are you also active on like Twitter? Do you post a lot? And where can the community find you?
Me personally, I have an no, I'm just kidding. Me personally, I do have X. I have X. Yes, it's the same. It's my name in reverse. So AULO
Yeah.
AP with an AP all up. So I'm there. That's my TG as well. I'm a shield bot for Kaia, so I just only mostly post about Kaia. Maybe I'm too bullish, to a fault. Yeah, but that's one. I'm on Facebook as well, but very rarely. I think crypto is when you can dress up as an anime character. So it's or crypto Twitter rather. So I think that's probably more appropriate for degenerate posts. But do follow us on on Kaia as well on Facebook. We're there. One of the comments here actually was from our Facebook page in Kaia, I think, and then our X is called Kaia Chain at Kaia Chain. So find us there. We also have our own community in TG. And if you want us to come down in the Philippines, we do have a few members there right now that are based in Manila. So
Yeah.
we can always hold some events together. If you want us to do more of these campaigns, let the Coins.ph know. Maybe we can do more of what we did for our Valentine's Day, right? And maybe even a bigger prize as well. I think we just did 300K. Maybe we can do, I don't know, 500K, maybe a million pesos or whatnot. So we'll see. But that's really up to the community. So let us know. I mean, let JC know. I'm sure we'll be more than happy to accommodate. Mm.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paulo. And yeah, do follow Kaya as well on Twitter. So it's at Kaya Chain. And then you guys can also look them up on Facebook. So community, do let us know if you enjoyed that campaign. And I hope you guys all learned something from our live stream tonight. We discussed a lot more. We're focusing really hard on stable coins. We're seeing a lot of practical use cases there, but it's we love crypto because it's fun. So I think that's the spirit we always want to keep even as the industry matures and moves forward. So
Mm.
Paolo, thank you so much. I think we can wrap up the show there. So thank you so much again, Paolo, for joining us for tonight's AMA. So I'm
Mm.
JC, this is the community manager for Coins.ph. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you all on our next live streams in the future. Peace out, guys. Bye.
Peace out. Thank you, Lucy. Thanks, community.
Bye.